Stroke. I'm so glad you guys are here joining us. And I'm your host, Jerry Wald, and a stroke survivor. So this show is all about bringing awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, brain injury, and also mental health um, and other disabilities. So I also wanted to provide a platform for all survivors to share their journeys from literally from all across the world. And bringing on experts in brain health so they can share their knowledge um, with us so we can learn. Um, so if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel called Let's Talk Stroke. And you can also hit that uh, notification button so you know when we go live. So anyway, my guest this morning is Emily Cindy Wood. And so please ask questions, make comments, and again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we'll have a good time. And I do see Kelly Rose. Good morning, and good morning, Rebecca. Good morning, you guys. And if I have missed you, I apologize, but I will go ahead and bring on um, Emily in just 1 second. And Kit, nice to see you. And she'll be in just a second. But again, I appreciate you guys coming here. Looking at all the journeys that people go through, and Emily's awesome. You'll really love her, and I'll go ahead right now and bring her on, and we'll get started and just have a great time. So hang tight here, good people. All righty. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. It feels like it's been a long week already, but yeah, there's hopefully you can see the comments. Good morning, Kevin, Joy, and okay, sorry, I see Kelly, you're saying you're Barbara. It's all good.
I see people saying hi. I'm hi back.
There you go. Nice to see you guys, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you willing to be on the show, and you know, like we said, we'll just have a little conversation, learn about you, and I'll just start here. We'll start with Emily. Who is Emily before anything's happened to you? You know.
Well, when I was born, my name was Emily Cynthia Wood. Well, my name was Cynthia Maywood. Sorry. my name was. My name is. I'm like, what? That's a brain thing.
I know.
Anyways, when I was born, my name was Cynthia May Wood, and the Emily was added later, for complicated reasons. But I can't really tell you much about what I was before any head injuries, because when I was 3, I was in a coma and had encephalitis. I've heard it pronounced encephalitis, but
yeah.
It's swelling of the brain and the spinal cord. The people prayed. I ended up waking up. I couldn't speak, but I could understand people. And I wasn't old enough to be able to write anything. So the doctor told my family that I would be a vegetable and I would never walk or talk again.
Right.
And, but I knew what was going on. And, I didn't recognize my own mother. I pretty much, I got tired before everyone else did. If we were walking someplace, often my mother and grandmother would have one of those folding shopping carts with wheels on it. And I would stop and sit down anywhere. It didn't matter where I got tired. It might be in the middle of the street, and they would take me and put me in the cart. And I don't remember that, but they complained for many years later about how I broke the cart and had to reinforce it with wire hangers.
How old were you then?
I was probably preschool.
Okay, yeah. So you're very young.
I mean, a toddler.
Very young.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, I mean, how long were you in a coma?
My parents actually don't agree on it. One of them says a couple months, and the other one says something else, but like, so I just figure a couple months. I don't
Sure.
remember anything from that time. I just remember after I woke up,
Right.
nurses were saying hello to me, and I understood what was going on, like I said, but when I went to say anything, it didn't work.
Right. Right. The aphasia. Then we talked about that. It was you had
Yeah.
aphasia? Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. And then you had but so then you obviously grew up, and so then you went through high school and all that.
Yeah. Strangely, I was a nerd in high school, never good at math, but I got A's and B's really easy. I had an extremely extensive vocabulary, used a lot of big words, and people would have to look them up in the dictionary. um, and I was one of those weirdos that back in my day of high school, we had to use 3-ring binders,
Right.
take notes, and we would have a certain way that the teacher wanted the 3-ring binder to be set up and everything. And the teacher would hold up mine and say, "This is the way it's supposed to be." And I had my research papers done early. That was before Google and
Right.
all that. I had to hand write everything and use the old-fashioned card catalog.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
wow. So what else? You obviously graduated high school, I believe, and
Yeah. In 1985, I graduated from high school.
right. And then from there, where'd you go?
Um,
Or what'd you do?
well, that's actually complicated.
Yeah.
I ended up going to Virginia to a college there, but it didn't work out because um I I was in a dorm, and I had like 3 roommates that were wild, didn't get enough sleep. I ended up sick. Basically I ended up leaving and going to Texas. I'm from Vermont, so I went from Vermont to Virginia to the college. Then I left the college. I couldn't find work there, and I had all kinds of problems. So I left there, went to Texas, and was living near Dallas, Texas, because I had a long distance boyfriend that was there, and we ended up engaged. Then I ended up going back to Vermont and living with my family again, and the engagement broke off. Then the next person I met was my first abusive husband. I have been married and divorced 4 times, each time for some reason, because I grew up in a very controlled environment. And it was so controlled, like most of the people in my life were people you could trust, they were all from the church and this and that. But so I didn't have any street smarts and, and that kind of stuff. So pretty much I just ended up with people that were controlling, and they were drug abusers, people, maybe drank too much some of the time and that sort of thing. My second husband, though, was extremely violent. He's right-handed. He would hit me on this side of the head, upper top part of the head. Basically throw me backwards, grab my throat, throw me backwards, jump on me, with often pinning my arms down, and be punching me in the head at that point, punching me in the head while I was standing, knocked me out of a chair that I was standing in when I was reaching for something, and I went flying into the cupboards, caved in my ribs. Basically, I ended up with multiple concussions, and before one concussion would be healed, I would end up with another one, and that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah, and then you said you were married 4 times, and obviously you're not married anymore now, and
No.
Which is obviously a good thing, because you mentioned they were all abusive.
Yeah.
Wow, but you overcame that. And there's a, I see there's comments here. There's this one here, Catherine Jordan. My first husband was like that, and I got out of it. Good for you, Catherine. It's tough. And then I know that Barbara was asking, Kelly Rose, but Barbara, how did you overcome your initial aphasia? I know that.
All I know is somehow I ended up learning how to walk and talk again.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, used to laugh and tell me that God made a liar out of those doctors because I could talk a tin ear off a Mack truck. Yeah. That's what she would say. And there was one boyfriend who would be like, "Oh no, here she goes in," and because I would talk and talk and talk and talk until the poor guy fell asleep.
Oh.
Well, like at night, if I wasn't able to go to sleep, I would just talk and talk and talk and talk.
Right. And now you had some TIA, some like mini stroke.
Yeah.
Type.
Yeah.
And was that how did? Because that was just with your not just, but it was because of the abuse that you took, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't remember when it actually started happening, but I do remember what it was like having the episodes. And more recently it's gotten down to basically just like an arm or a leg going pins and needles for a while and then stopping, right, and that sort of thing. But for a while it was kind of like a Tom and Jerry cartoon where it would just close in like all black. Right. I would feel a lot of pressure in my head suddenly and didn't have enough time to tell anyone what was going on or do anything about it. The most I had time to say was, "Oh no," or something. And then I would just plain go down, usually hit my knees first and then land on the floor. And it would, my speech was impaired. My ability, I would be trying to move like after a few minutes, and my ability to control my arms was impaired. It was like they weren't working right.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, I see Rebecca. I'm very sorry, she says. And then Kevin here is asking you, how's your typical day now?
My typical day now is, well, I'm not much of a morning person. I have sleep problems. It takes me a while to get to sleep. And then I have no actual set schedule of when I wake up or go to sleep, right, kind of a thing. But I spend a lot of time volunteering virtually. I'm a volunteer for AARP, and I actually have some props here. When you volunteer for them, they send you these cool things. I've got like a soup cup, and here's my volunteer handbook.
Wow, nice.
And they also they sent me a couple t-shirts. This is just one of them, but I'm not a t-shirt person, so.
But you have them.
Yeah, and they even sent me this cap.
Perfect. Why not? Oh, that's great. Wow.
Yeah, but I also volunteer for a local group through the Vermont Center for Independent Living office here where I live in Rutland City in Vermont, and the group is called DARA, DAARA, and it stands for Disabled Access and Advocacy of the Rutland Area. And we meet on Zoom once a month and do various things like contact a committee, like a local city government committee, about something to do with a sidewalk or a problem with one of the roads. And we write letters to local businesses asking for them to put in ramps and or maybe a bar in the bathroom or something like that. It's all about disability accessibility. I live a few blocks away from one of my sons, and
Wow.
I can walk over there in like 10 minutes and be spending time with some grandchildren.
Right. Right.
Um, and one of my grandchildren is 8 and used to say things to me like, well, I would ask a question I had already asked, but I didn't remember,
Right.
or I would repeat myself. And so this 8-year-old grandchild would say, "What's wrong with you? You're stupid." But and for some reason now, um, she's being nicer and she says, "Oh well, you're just having a memory problem." But I also made uh, a book about having encephalitis, and it's on Amazon. Um, it's called Cindy's Long Sleep, and it's for early grade school age
Right.
kids, and it's got like scratching, hand scratched pictures I made with charcoal.
Right. Right.
um, and stuff. I'm not much of an artist, but I gave my grandkids a copy of the book, and they're like, "Oh wow, that was you."
Yeah.
Um,
That's nice.
and they also saw me in a video that was on the news because we had the local group that I volunteer with about disability accessibility. They had an Americans with Disabilities walk through downtown. And so the grandkids saw me in the video and they're like, "Oh, wow, you were on TV."
Yeah. Wow.
But
It is.
I'm not really a celebrity. It's just I was just on the news. It
Right.
just happened to be there.
That's great. I'm sure you got a copy of that, but it's great that you are volunteering, helping out with the disabled because, we mentioned about a doctor this morning. Like, do the doctors really understand what we're, the emotional part of this stuff?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's um, but you're doing. There's a lot of good comments up here. They're all good. Sorry, that probably came out wrong, but yeah. So it's good that you are getting, like Kevin is saying. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, thank you so much for being here, you guys. And Kevin Harmer, nice to see you out here. Um, but yeah. So when did your first? I hate to go back, but hash out things. What was the how when you first got married? What was the age? Because you were young.
The first
Yeah.
marriage was I was 19 and he was 25 when we met.
Wow. Okay.
And so we got married in uh 1988, I think.
Okay. Wow. But
Yeah.
wow. But so any other? Do you have seizures because of all that?
Um I don't have seizures like I used to where things get black and I have the head pressure and I go down.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. Instead what happens is numbness and tingling in one arm maybe, and it lasts for a while and then stops.
Right.
Or maybe one leg. And sorry, I'm like sweating.
No worries. No worries at all. But so I'm glad it seems like it's getting better.
Yeah. Well, I was on Topamax for a while, and then uh, they did some. One of my posts that's pinned on my Facebook wall. It has a post there, and one of the pictures there, I think, is one of me with a bunch of gadgets like attached to my head, and they were doing some kind of a scan. And at that point, I can't remember what year it was. At that point, I hadn't been having the seizures, the full-blown seizures anymore. And they ended up telling me that I didn't have to take the Topamax anymore. So I feel pretty lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any lingering effects, like like me, the right side's all kind of messed up?
Yeah.
Anything with you is
I don't really feel
good.
like there's much of an effect. It just I do think that I still get tired
Yeah.
faster than other people.
Sure.
and I think maybe my coordination isn't great.
It used to be.
Physical coordination. With a couple of my grandchildren were they're autistic and they have attention deficit disorder, and one of the behaviors that they have is if they get upset, trying to run off.
Sure. Yeah.
One of them went out in the hallway here in my apartment building, and I went like after them, and I was running, but they were like, "You run really funny," because it was probably the first time I ran in like 20 years. But,
oh no, I understand now. I see another question. Are you able to drive?
I've never had a driver's license.
Is that right?
I had the learner's permit for driving here in Vermont when my second husband, the violent one, when he took me to Virginia, it was going to expire, and on the way to the DMV, when I was supposed to be taking the test to get my learner's permit there, he argued with me the entire way there. And I was so upset that I flunked the test. And basically, I just have never gone back.
Right.
Trying to get it. And like in order for me to get a driver's license, I would have to have a car to practice on. And I haven't had such a thing. The last time I was ever driving at all was probably around 1996 or something. Yeah. And I only drove a few blocks.
Right. So you, like we talked, you have friends and you guys go out and stuff?
Yeah, like right now I use Medicaid transportation through my medical insurance.
Sure.
I live downtown and the shopping center is across the street. My bank is a few blocks away.
Oh, good. So
and the places of worship that I'm involved in, they're walking distance as well. So
good. Yeah, that's great. And your sisters live? Are you your son or somebody lives like two?
Yeah, one. My older son. I've got 2 sons and 2 daughters.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you see them often?
I see the one that lives a few blocks away, a lot more often. A couple of them. I've got a son and a daughter from the violent marriage that I was talking about with the head beatings. They are 26 and 27 years old. They were living outside of their dad's house. They grew up with him. They were living outside his house, and they ended up moving back with him. And sadly, they don't view it this way, but they're definitely taking his side, right. And they're treating me like what happened didn't really happen. My daughter tried telling me that the aphasia from the domestic violence must have been from the encephalitis instead, but in like 2007, I was diagnosed with receptive aphasia, which is something I did not have before the domestic violence.
Right.
So it's impossible for that to have been going on since I was 3 years old, because I was the nerd that got the A's and B's real easy.
Right. Exactly.
And receptive aphasia would not have allowed that. So
yeah. But do you see your daughter now?
She doesn't drive just like me. I see her when her brother drives out to visit, and she rides with him.
Right.
They live about an hour and 20 minutes away.
Wow. You're a very strong woman.
Well, I figure it's just in my genes to be stubborn.
Yeah.
And I also have faith that there's someone up there who created us, and for things happen for a reason, whatever they are. And I honestly think that the reason it happened to me is that a lot of people, when they hear my story, they actually, they might realize that they have a head injury themselves
Right.
and they didn't know it before, or they might also decide they're going to get out of a situation that they need to get out of that's unsafe
Right. Right.
at the same time.
Yeah. You have a purpose, right? Yeah. Yeah. You have a
Yeah.
purpose in now.
Yeah. My younger two kids, the ones that live with this ex-husband, they don't want to hear anything bad about their father.
Sure.
They uh they asked me to delete things from my Facebook. And some of it is really old stuff from before they were even out of high school, which is like a long time ago.
Right.
And I deleted things, but I told them, I said, I don't mind deleting things, but I have a right to talk about what happened to
Absolutely.
me because that's what made me the way I am now. And it's the reason that I can't academically um, pass college classes like the easy A's and B's that I had before. It's the reason that I can't just go out and financially support myself. Um, there's a lot of issues. Most of it is stuff that's not visible,
Yeah.
I guess.
Uh,
And most people see me and they're like, "Oh, you're just a regular person. You're like everybody
right.
else." And like after they've been around me, some of them are like, "Okay, what's up?"
Yeah. There's something going on there. Yeah. You're right.
So something is different here.
Yeah. And it's an invisible disease. Like,
Yeah, and I want to point out that before the domestic violence head injury stuff happened, um, before that I was a really stoic person. I had hardly any affect, hardly any facial expression, or no, like almost no intonation in my voice. I was like Frasier's girlfriend on Cheers. Um, and that was the normal me,
right.
but that was the normal me after the encephalitis. I don't know what the real normal me would have been.
Right. Right.
Who knows who the real Emily Cindy is. But so um after the concussions and multiple concussions from the domestic violence, everything about me changed, and so that some people that were used to the way I was before, they didn't know how to deal with me.
Right.
They weren't comfortable, some of them interacting with me. um and my I ended up not being able to communicate effectively. um I had really high in intricate vocabulary before, and then after the domestic violence, I I can't even think of those big words I used to use.
Right.
I don't even know how to spell them.
Yeah.
And I also ended up with problems multitasking, problems focusing.
Yeah.
I can focus better now than before, but the multitasking is still an issue. The vocabulary is still an issue. And there was one point um, in a more recent period, like closer to the time of the concussions, I would repeat myself every 5 minutes, and you couldn't convince me that I had already said what I had repeated because I didn't remember. And I would tell you, if I had done that, I would know that I had said that. So no, you're wrong. I didn't repeat myself. And but it so I had to gradually grow at, like, I guess in my, I don't know how you word it, the recovery.
Yeah.
I had to slowly grow from the point of denying what was wrong
Right. Right.
to realizing, to the point where now if I'm talking in circles, I often realize it, not always, but
Yeah.
um like other things about the communication problems. Sometimes I will actually pick up on what I'm doing, and then I'll back up and say, okay, let's go back to where I was trying to talk about.
Right, right.
Instead of talk about all this other stuff.
At least you're realizing that and trying to work through that.
Yeah. It was really difficult. One thing that I think is important for people with traumatic brain injury is to have a therapist, because other people are not gonna. You can't treat your family as the therapist or your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So true. It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
When did you realize that? Because a lot of people, they don't want to ask for help. They're more embarrassed. It's okay. I mean,
well, I think I didn't really realize that for at least 5 years after I got out of the violent marriage. And the way I was communicating, though, was hampering the actual progress of the therapy, I think, because in order for you to tackle what you need to talk about, you need to be able to be staying on topic. That's kind of it's kind of important.
Absolutely. It's good to hear that you're mentioning this to everybody, because a lot of people won't ask for help. I never even wanted to in the beginning. I was more embarrassed than I went through. So and here's one of the questions. Do you see that on the screen, or you can look down below? Either way.
Which one?
It says
how long?
Yeah, how long did it take you to complete your book?
The book is extremely simple. It took less than 24 hours, actually.
Really?
It's just a second.
Yeah, if you have it there.
I made it on I originally, this is the second edition, and all you do is upload a PDF file to see, it's really simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the publishing for this one was on Amazon. And you upload your PDF file. They have a template for book covers.
Right.
And you just plug in whatever, and this is the back.
Wow. And you can.
But and so the same grandchild that had been telling me, "What are you repeating yourself for? What's your problem?"
Right.
Was critiquing the book, and there's a spot where I used the same picture in a couple places
for that reason.
So my grandchild was saying, "Okay, what are you doing? You were being lazy." But it was basically all I was trying to do is play with the system, the system or the program for publishing to see how it worked. Because my original goal was to try to type out poetry that I wrote and publish that. But even over 10 years later, I have not done that. I haven't typed it out yet.
Right. Yeah, it's for me, it's a long time to, you find out things later in life that, I got to add this to it. So it's going to take, at least for me, it's going to take years for me to finish mine. Mm-hmm. But was it therapy for you?
To make the book?
Yeah, just like reading what you wrote.
I just, all that was important to me was for this short little story to get out and maybe encourage some kids that might be sick, or maybe they have a relative that's sick.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll realize, maybe they'll get better.
They're not alone.
But
they're not alone.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I did something really head injury-ish, and I forgot the email to get into the Amazon account where I published the book.
Yeah.
I not only did that, but before I forgot the email and really have no clue how to get back in there, I removed a bank account from the payment section. So, however I was supposed to get royalties or a percent if somebody buys the book,
Right.
I'm not getting anything. So,
I hear that.
but if you look up Emily Cynthia May Wood, Cindy's Long Sleep on Amazon, there's 2 books there.
Wow.
But I just don't have access to get in there.
Well, good for you to just put your name in there and Amazon and
Yeah, like anybody could do it. I honestly believe that anyone watching this, you're capable. If I was capable of doing it, then you can do it too.
yeah.
And like, even if it means you just do it slowly, step by step, I believe that anybody could publish a book.
Yeah.
About anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And 24 hours, that just blows me away. Good for you. That's you should be proud of that you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree there, Kelly, Barbara. You are doing well communicating. You really are. I mean, from what we went through.
10 years ago, I wasn't communicating like this, though. There's a friend of mine who used to come visit, and we would hang out and have pizza and watch movies and mess around with with stuff on my laptop. And that friend told me, over the past 3 or 4 years, said, "Oh my gosh, you are communicating so much better than you were then."
Wow.
And I'm talking about around 10 years ago, 2013, 2014, this person would come visit me, and I have no idea what I sounded like back then, but I do believe that some of the reason I didn't end up with the support services and possibly testing or diagnostic tools, whatever, that I might have needed, was I wasn't able to communicate to my doctors or the other people about what I needed. And I went for a very long time not being diagnosed with traumatic brain injury, wondering, why isn't anything working?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? And so my reaction at that point, not knowing that some of the problem was me, my reaction was, what the hell is wrong with the world now? What's everyone's problem? That everything is just not going the way it's supposed to. And all, from not being able to get hired for a job to not being able to get the support I needed from a place of worship through the struggles that I was having. When there was one point when I was living in Utah, in Salt Lake City, and they did a CAT scan, and there were multiple abnormal dark spots throughout my brain. But I didn't have fancy medical insurance. I had poor people's medical insurance, and I didn't have anyone advocating for me or anything else. Nothing was done to figure out what were these spots. I was simply told, you have multiple dark spots in your brain, and I had, who knows what they were or what was going on and whatever, but they seem to have disappeared, because many years later, I had other CAT scans and I wasn't told the same thing. And so it's as if it just healed itself. I think that it was probably from damage due to the concussions that I got.
Right.
And there was a neuropsychological evaluation done in 2002 or so, when I was in Utah. And that was when I first found out that, and the CAT scan with the dark spots in my brain, that was what told me, okay, there's something wrong.
Right.
that's when I realized, okay, maybe the problem isn't everyone is messed up in the world. Maybe it's not bad luck. Maybe there's a problem, and now what can we do to fix it?
Right.
But I never was given the support services or rehabilitation. None of that happened. It wasn't until around 2007 or 2008 that I ended up with a traumatic brain injury case manager. And after that was when I was diagnosed with aphasia for the first time.
Wow. Did you even,
And
you probably didn't even know what aphasia was.
I didn't know. And it wasn't until recently, just a few weeks ago, that I realized what I was actually diagnosed with. And I don't have the original paper even, but I have a picture that I took of it. And it says receptive aphasia. And when I looked up receptive aphasia, it looks like my understanding of what I read and what other people are saying and stuff was part of the problem.
Right.
And right now, I don't want to admit that it's a problem now, obviously, but
I understand.
But I don't know. I feel like I'm a lot better, and my communication is a lot better. I'm able to advocate for people better. Another thing I want to point out is when I was in Salt Lake City, Utah, I got involved with a group called Jedi for Women. The JEDI stood for Justice, Economic Dignity, and Independence for Women.
Wow.
And that was when I first learned that I was able to do something.
Wow.
I was able to do something that might make a difference. I was able to do something. I was part of public rallies. I helped organize the clothing closet. Women that did going undercover for the FBI, they would discard the stuff that they used into that closet, and it was all professional looking clothes and stuff. Some of it was from Nordstrom's. It was really nice stuff. And so it was crazy because 3/4 of the time when I was involved with them, I was homeless because of the head injury problems. And but I was able to speak at their rallies. I sang at some of the rallies, leading some of the singing and stuff, most of the time without music or accompaniment. I was in something called the March for the Poor. If you look it up, there was a March for the Poor around the time that the Olympics were going on in Salt Lake City.
Right.
And we started in a park, and we marched, and people were saying, "What do we want?" And other people were replying, "Healthcare. What do we want?" Living wage job or whatever. Yeah. And of course, I'm not going to criticize how they had it organized, but not everyone was answering the same stuff. Like different people were answering different things.
Yeah.
So it was not as organized. And then we got to the end. We ended up at I guess it's called a rotunda or something. This circle area in front of a college. We stopped there, and they were getting hoarse and losing their voice, the person that was trying to lead them in the singing. And so they dragged me up there because they knew that I could carry a tune. And I don't even remember what we were singing. It's something about mountain or whatever. But, there were people that were from the deaf community there. There were people from out of the country, all over the place, and they were basically trying to get a living wage and make sure that people had housing and that sort of thing. And the president of the United States actually drove by with his security during part of it. And they the organizers of this march, they purposely walked past where we had the permit to be doing this. And I'm really upset that they did this because they got arrested, and the entire thing stopped. Everyone was told that they were going to be able to get up at the microphone and tell their story and share their issues. But when they did that and they got arrested, everybody else stopped, and a bunch of the other people in charge said, "Okay, it's a wrap." You know, they were acting like they accomplished what they came there for. But I disagree, because nobody got to get up and talk about anything.
Right.
All that did was make a scene and get them arrested, in my opinion. But I do have a lot of respect for the people that did run the organizations and stuff. That there were organizations from Philadelphia and all over the place were involved in it. And me being involved in that agency, the Jedi for Women, that is part of what helped me realize, even though I've got whatever wrong with me and whatever has happened to me, I can still be a valuable part of something. And I think that was the only reason that I kept on keeping on. However you the other main reason that I still kept on trying anything was my grandmother spent an hour a day with me when I was a teenager, and I would feel like giving up, or things were just too bad to bother, and I would remember my grandmother spending that time with me. And well, if I give up, she did that for nothing.
Right. Yeah.
And she was a fantastic person. There's nobody has anything bad to say about her. She's one of those kind of people.
Right. So, I mean, you probably have something great to say. What would you tell someone that's going through not exactly, with trauma in their life? What would you tell somebody who's watching, or is watching or not commenting or anything?
Well, I think the first thing I would say is make sure that you are safe. Make sure that you are not in an exploited situation, whether it's, where you're living, a relationship, whatever, make sure that you are safe and not being exploited. Try and build a network would be the second thing. You need a network to get through everything. You're going to need the therapist. You're going to need the testing, the diagnosis. Reach out to every place you can. The brain injury association of the state you live in.
Yeah.
And Center for Independent Living. Each state in the United States, I don't know about other countries, but each state in the United States has a Center for Independent Living. You can get advocacy there. Sometimes with head injuries, we can't do the planning that we need to. We need someone else to help maybe troubleshoot and organize things so that we're working down the list in the right order, kind of a thing. I would also say reach out. My faith that there's a God, and I saw many instances where prayer worked and miracles happened. Right. Make sure that you have some kind of spiritual connection, whatever that might be.
Sure.
Everyone's on their own journey. Just to try to connect with some people that might be supportive of your journey.
That's wonderful. I mean, you live by yourself, but you have family kind of around, but you really, you go through those. Like you said, it's a hitting disease. No one, they see you on the outside. No, you're fine. You don't, but no one knows what we're going through, deep down. So you go through those emotions, I'm sure, depression here, sometimes, but you learn how to handle it.
Are you asking me how I handle that?
Yes. How do you handle that?
Oh, how do I handle that? Well, I keep myself busy with the volunteering, for one thing.
Yeah.
I find music to be a fan. It's amazing. Music is amazing. I used to think that I wanted to practice art, like with watercolor paints
Right.
that you get on the tube. But when I try to paint something, it looks like SpongeBob did it. So like I'm not as excited about it anymore. But anyways, and find something that you can do that's constructive, whether it's writing or art or something to do with music. Be around other people. We want to isolate ourselves when we feel weird, but it's not okay to do. And I actually am. I feel pretty much okay just staying by myself in my apartment. But I'm not. I need to practice what I'm preaching here because I'm not a very going out and getting involved in stuff kind of a person. I get involved in like the advocacy and activism and stuff. But I went recently to the Art in the Park. And I did a Facebook Live, and one of my mother's cousins' wife thought that was fantastic because she was watching it and wasn't able to go to it. And all I did was I showed all the stuff that was being displayed by the artists there. And
wow.
But I talked with some of them and stuff, and I even took their business cards and
good for you.
Put their commented their contact information in the comments, whatever. I'm not. I don't think that any of us are 100% perfect at dealing with the issues, and I'm absolutely not. I guess someone to copy. I'm not the best at dealing with everything, and I'm definitely not the greatest at practicing everything I'm talking about. But I do know what works, and getting out and involved in some of the community activities going on it makes you feel a lot better and like you're not in your own bubble.
Right. You're very inspiring. I have to tell you that. Very inspiring to me. And by looking at all these comments, well, you'll see them. If you missed them, that's okay. But you can always go back and look at them. But I really appreciate it. Is there anything last words that you want to say? Because you really, probably touched a lot. So.
Well, I guess we didn't end up touching on the cancer.
Oh my gosh, forgot.
But really quick, I would like to say I got to a point where I had strategies and coping skills that were great. Everything was working awesome. And I was even almost about to get a bachelor's degree from online college. And I got diagnosed with cancer. I was diagnosed with cancer, stage 3 invasive breast cancer in 2018 and 2020. And it was then that I found out that cancer is a lot more complicated than it looks, because all I thought it was maybe you get a little bit sick and you get chemo, and then when the chemo's over, everything's done. That's not the way it works. And chemotherapy can also cause something called chemo brain. And so I went from this functioning person that had all these coping skills and strategies to get through stuff, and I was maintaining it really well. I was in the middle of a semester of a college class, and I had to medically withdraw from college because I couldn't do the work anymore. I had a mastectomy, and I couldn't sit up and do this stuff at the laptop, and they couldn't give me any more time than they already gave me to do things. So I just medically withdrew. And so I've had 2 mastectomies, my ovaries removed. I have to take estrogen blocker for every day for the rest of my life. I have a cancer gene mutation that puts me at risk for cancer. So I have to be monitored anyways, even if I'm in remission. And I also had I had a surgery called the deep flap chest reconstruction. They make an incision from one side of the abdomen to the other, take out a bunch of tissue and make you a chest. And so during that was when I started using a walker, and I had to start taking chemotherapy pills at home in December 2020 and stopped taking them in March 2023 because I was found to be in remission again. But so from October 2018 until March 2023, I was either recovering from surgery, going through chemo, going through radiation the entire time. And so like now I'm still trying to learn how to be like a normal non-cancer treatment person. But November 2023, I'm going to get cancer scans again, and I'm hoping that it comes out negative. But so there are so many ways that you can end up with cognitive issues. A chemo brain can make you have a foggy brain, memory problems, multitasking issues. It's like it sounds like what we're all going through already. But so if the cancer comes back, I have been through it twice already, so I kind of know a little bit how to deal with it. But like I don't know when if it comes back. I'm not going to say when. If it comes back, I don't know where it's going to come back because it went into the lymph nodes. And the second time I was diagnosed, it was only in the lymph nodes, nowhere else. So it could come back anywhere.
Right. But you're in remission. And, you're in remission.
Yeah. And so that dealing with all the head injury stuff and then the cancer, I don't have tolerance for blankety.
I think we all know what you're saying.
You know, I don't have tolerance for anyone's nonsense or whatever, you know, and it's like, don't waste my time.
Absolutely.
I just want to do what I can do in each moment, either for bettering my own health so I can be there for my kids and make a positive difference in the world, or, you know, I am focusing on family, the stuff I'm volunteering with. And the biggest thing, I guess the largest issue I've got to deal with right now, the hardest and the most important, is trying to maintain non-clutter in my apartment.
Oh, wow.
When I was going through the cancer treatment, everything built up, it was piled up around me. And I ended up having to go through and get rid of a lot of stuff and throw out a bunch of things. And so my apartment actually looks pretty organized and neat, except for the table that my laptop is on. There's a pile like this high behind the laptop.
Right.
And I have a couple of kind of like foldable bin type things. They're totally stuffed, and there's things piled on that. But like, if the only cluttered area is my table, I think I'm actually accomplishing something.
Oh,
I was extremely upset about it, but I decided, well, I have to pick my battles.
Right. That's true.
I can't expect my apartment to be totally perfect.
From what you've been through, I mean, you should be, how you said, proud of how you've overcome all, 4 marriages, abusive, encephalitis, cancer twice. I mean, you are and very positive. I mean, I see here, Jerry Chapman. I think you're an incredible person, Emily. Thank you for your story.
I just figure if I share what I've been through, then maybe somebody will realize they have a head injury who has no idea they have one.
Right.
Maybe you're in an unsafe violent or somehow abusive living situation or relationship, get out.
Yeah.
You know, there are reasons that people stay, and there are a lot of reasons that it's hard to get out, but do it, because you don't want to end up like me. Like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. What do you want your legacy in life to be? Do you want people to remember you just as the person who was being beat up and railroaded? Do you want to? I mean, I don't want people to think of me that way, and I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's each one of us has a purpose. Yeah. There's something that you're good at. There's some way you can contribute to something somewhere, no matter who you are.
Absolutely. Wow. I really appreciate it. Yvonne, Jerry, all you guys, I see you all out here. Thank you so much for being here and listening. Emily's story. It's an amazing story, and how positive you are. By doing what you do, you're shedding light. That's right, Yvonne. Brad, now look at this. People are all coming out here, but great inspiration to us. You know, like you said, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
You know, that was you said it took you 5 years, right?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. It's about, yeah. Well,
and the amazing thing now is that I've got a fantastic support network.
Yeah, good.
I have at least 2 places of worship. I've got family, and a very big family. More of them are finding out about what happened to me and stuff. And I like, it's not, oh, poor me, look what happened to me. It's, okay, this was why I wasn't present.
Right.
For there are ways I wanted to be a good aunt or a good mother, or something else with family. There are ways I wanted to still be connected with people I went to high school with.
Right.
And if they can understand why I wasn't there. And today is a different day. We can still work on being connected now.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. Well, again, I really appreciate you doing this, and you're staying busy, and you're raising awareness, which I love. So really appreciate it. You do.
Well, thank you for asking me to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We'll have to do it again. You really touched on a lot of amazing things. So, and I appreciate everybody being here too, and putting your 2 cents in there. How's that? No, just, I mean, it didn't come out right, but yeah, a brain injury kind of, some things come out, and that's just how it is. So anyway, one last time, anything, the final on this?
I can't really think of anything.
Yeah.
Just, think about your safety first. If you end up in, if you're safe and that's not a problem, then that makes things a lot easier. Yeah. Just take the next steps.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. And yes, Yvonne, we saw your last comment here. Nobody has to suffer that, because unfortunately it happens. You are very brave.
Well, thank you. I hope that everybody has a great day, and that you're not in a heat wave.
Yeah, it's just going to be 100 today. So, Wow. Well, thank you once again, and we will be in touch. And you guys, thank you once again. Appreciate it. Take care, everyone.